Cool. Hey, everybody. How you all doing today?
Good.
Yay.
We're here.
So it's here for Geek Therapeutics. We are running, we are playing role-playing games, teaching people how to use role-playing games in a therapeutic context, or just being better game masters, as the case may be. I'm John. I'm going to be running the game tonight. Why don't we go around, everybody introduce each other? Yeah, that'd be fun. Jeff, go ahead and introduce yourself and say one thing that's true about your character.
My name is Jeff. My character's name is Oroth, and he is a very angry little hobbit.
Daniel, you're next.
My name is Daniel. My character is Lothar the Paladin, and he is fearless.
That's true. Jason, you're next.
My name is Jason. I'm playing Hijal. He is a hobgoblin artificer, and he has a very high opinion of himself.
Awesome. Dana, you're next.
Hi, I'm playing Jada Brightwood. I'm a half-elf wizard who's just coming into her powers.
Yes, and the only, like I said before, the only stream of light in the dark, cloudy sky that is our character party. John, you're next.
My name's John Ricky. I'm playing a character named Avixis Sorel. He's a combat-only sorcerer. He is useless in any other context.
John, I don't mean to do this, but you said your character's name wrong. His name is Avixos.
Avixos.
Yeah,
that's true. Fair point.
And Tom, you're last, but not least.
Yeah, I'm playing Devilari, the Goblin Rogue, and he is the only level head in this entire party.
So to give everybody a little bit of context of what's going on, a day ago, each of you were living your normal lives when suddenly you woke up in the middle of a jungle. You don't know why you're there. There's standing stones, and there's a well in the center of the standing stones with a rune on it, a moon rune of all things. And since then, you've discovered weird things about this weird jungle place that you've shown up. You've met a bunch of orcs who apparently can set themselves on fire. Also, one of you bumped into a mind flayer. That's kind of weird. And you've also found the entrance of a very, very strange dungeon. As a matter of fact, you were walking down the stairs. There was an illusion that kept you eternally walking down the stairs. But as soon as you broke that and got down to the platform, you activated a click trap that dropped a wall behind you, and a little sign popped down and said, "Congratulations, you've activated a 5-skull Grimtooth death trap." And out of a secret passage all the way down the end of the corridor, a bunch of goblins came out in overalls with mops and buckets, and they said, "Oh, you set of trap! You all screwed now! Ha ha!" And that's where we are. So we are playing D&D, sorta. We're playing a very stripped down, slim version of D&D. Everybody has a heritage. Everybody has a class. You have the 6 attributes. But the way we're playing is that you add your character sheet bonuses to a D20, and if you roll 15 or higher, then the player gets to say what happens next. And if you roll 14 or less, me, the GM, I get to say what happens next. So with all that in mind, hey guys, you're in apparently a 5-skull Grimtooth trap. Devilari, little goblin rogue. There's other goblins down at the end of the corridor. And as they're pointing and laughing, one of them stops and says, Hey you, what you do down there?"
I'm the one that set off the trap.
"Oh, that's stupid. What'd you do that for?"
I was trying to not set off the trap.
"Oh, did you screw up?" "Yeah, you should come over here. You should be with us, not with them. They're adventurers."
How do you know I'm not an adventurer?
"Oh, because you're a goblin. Goblins are not adventurers. No, it's bad."
You know, is there a way for me to safely get over there?
"Oh yeah, a trap won't affect you."
So the trap doesn't affect goblins.
"No."
Look back over at everyone else.
Yeah, do it. Go.
as I'm walking down, I'm seeing if there's any way for me to disable the trap as I'm moving down this way.
Go ahead and make a roll. If your heritage is appropriate, you add 2. If your class is appropriate, you add 4, and then you add your attribute bonus.
So what would the attribute be for this? Would it be like an intelligence because I'm looking around
I think
trying to
so.
figure
I
it
think
out?
it'd be
Okay.
yeah. You're looking around trying to see things.
Okay, so I would say that definitely being a rogue helps with this.
Oh yeah.
So I'm already at a 16.
Okay. So
12.
so do you want to say what happens next, or do you want to get an inspiration point and have me say what happens next?
I spent a couple inspiration points last time, so why don't you tell me what happened this time?
Okay. So you get an inspiration point, and in our version of D&D, you collect inspiration points. And every time you spend one, it adds a d20 to your roll, and you get to pick the highest roll. So as you're walking by the trap, you see that you're looking for the mechanisms and things of it and trying to see what's going on. And as far as you can tell, the only part of the trap is the click plate. So you walk down the corridor and the goblins are there and they say, "Oh, there you are, here." And they take out a pair of overalls.
One in a row.
Yep.
I slipped the overalls onto the very nice clothes that Devalari is actually wearing. It's very much like, oh look, the boss is on the floor and he's working on the factory line. See, it's very much that kind of aesthetic.
So while all of this is going on, Daniel, how does Lothar the Paladin feel about this?
Lothar is cautiously optimistic about this. He doesn't really understand traps very well. He's really just waiting for somebody to, tell him, go kill that monster or go save that person. So he's standing and, he's hoping that the Devilari is going to be able to figure out a way to get us through this.
Awesome. John, Avixos.
Avixos. So we're heading down the stairway. We can't progress forward because we have a wall that's fallen down as a result of the trap being triggered, correct?
The wall fell down behind you.
Oh, behind us. Okay.
Yeah, so it's cutting off the stairway.
Oh, so we just can't leave.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry, I misunderstood.
That's okay.
Let's see. So where is walking? What stops us from just continuing to walk and assuming that plate has already been triggered and we're good?
Nothing.
Okay. So I'm definitely going to start walking.
Okay.
Walking
Avixos begins walking down the corridor by himself.
Yep. Ready to sling badness at people or
Hajal.
set off a trap.
Hajal, what's up?
Hajal's confused, which he doesn't like being. He just kind of looks around, kind of goes like, What? Did we spring the trap or not? No one's dead yet. The trap is stupid. Look at Avixos. He seems perfectly fine. Hey! And he yells out at Devalari and the goblins. Has the trap started yet?
Devalari?
Devalari sees Avixos walking and you just see his eyes go wide and you see him mouthing, no.
The trap hasn't started yet. He said no, it hasn't.
Let's get it started.
No.
No. Dana, what is Jada Brightwood up to? What's she thinking and doing?
She's not trusting these goblins, has no idea what's going on, and I'm not sure if we've done a perception check or if this is, since we know actually now that they're going no, the trap has not been set off. She's very concerned now.
Jeff, tell me about Oroth.
I don't know where I am yet, right?
Oh, that's right. We don't know where you are yet. We'll get to you in a moment.
Yeah.
All right. So Avixos is walking down the corridor and the goblins look at you. Oh, you better not come any further.
Just keep walking.
Oh. Okay. And they one of them opens the secret panel And Devilari, you're right there. And behind the secret panel is a bunch of levers.
Mhm.
And one of the goblins grabs a lever and pulls it. So Avixos,
Mhm.
a pit opens up underneath you. I would like you to make a dexterity check to see what
Ooh.
happens next.
Let's do this. Oh wait, let me look at my dexterity.
And of course, you can add your heritage and your.
Oh no, there is no. I mean, unless I don't know if Dragonborn are very dexterous as a rule, but this does not seem like a situation I'm well suited for. So let's just do this. All right, rolling.
I believe in you.
I got inspiration points.
Get it? Okay, you get inspiration point. Okay.
No, I have them. So I rolled a 15.
Okay.
My dex is a 14, so plus 2, so it's a 17
All
on
right.
the roll.
Do you want to tell me what happens next?
Yes. I am walking, trying to kind of get the goblins to stop being coy and do whatever they're gonna do. See them open the panel. And just at the last minute, I turn my head back around to see that it was open. And I stop myself. And I look at Devilar and I say, if they pull another lever, I expect you to stab them.
So if you look down in the pit, you see at the bottom of the pit is a portal, a swirling portal.
Ooh.
And because you are a spellcaster, I won't make you roll or anything.
Yeah.
It appears to be a teleportation portal.
Yeah. Well,
And
where to
also
is
the pit
question.
is like 3 feet deep.
Oh god. So it's not like it was just to get me to teleport somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Well, if we teleport somewhere, we should do it together. Anybody else want to jump into this?
No, let's throw one of the goblins in first.
Hey.
We're gonna fight with Devilari again.
So the pit is between you, Avixos is between you and the goblins. It's 10 feet wide.
Oh, it is. Okay, so I went past it. Got it.
Well, no, it's between you and the goblins.
Oh, sorry, the goblins are at the end. For some reason, I
The
thought I
goblins
walked
are-
past the goblins. Yeah, okay.
So there's the entrance and the party, and then there's Avixos, and then there's the pit, and then there's the goblins and Devilari.
So I basically explained to the group, hey, this looks like a teleportation portal. If at the very least doesn't look like it was going to immediately kill me. So, but I don't understand what a 5-skull Grimtooth death trap is. If we decide to go down this pit, we should do it in a group so that we end up together. Otherwise, we can work on trying to get down the
Yes.
hallway.
Jump in pit. It's a good plan.
Less cleaning for us if he jumps in the pit.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Less cleaning for us if he jumps in the pit.
Oh yeah, lots less.
Lothar's not going to jump in the pit.
All right. Well, it's only 10
Oh.
feet wide. We can jump this. Well,
How
I
about
guess
you
there are
just
rules.
go?
Maybe we can use a rope or something.
So,
That far.
Devilari, you have been told to do something. One of the goblins reaches up to pull a lever.
Ooh.
So what I'm going to do instead of stabbing someone,
I didn't say someone, I
is-
said them.
I know.
specifically.
I know. What Devil Eye is going to do instead is reach into his backpack and just pull out a little glass vial that has 2 liquids in it. And he's just going to toss it down for a little bit of a flashbang.
Okay. And the goblin, you gonna stop the goblin from pulling the lever?
Yeah. So I'm stopping the goblin and just throwing that down real quick, trying to startle them, make them back up, do something.
Okay, so the flashbang goes off, and all the goblins are like, "What? And the goblin you grabbed, he said, "No, watch, look, see." He's whispering to you.
Mm.
I let him pull the lever.
So he pulls the lever. He pulls the lever, and
Bravo,
the
Foxtrot.
and the stone wall behind you rises up
behind who?
behind the party.
I thought there
Oh.
was already a wall behind us.
Yeah, it rises up.
It rises up.
They're basically
It
letting us
goes
out.
away. You have a way out now.
It disappears into the ceiling.
Mm.
Ah,
And
okay.
and the goblins are coughing. You go now. You too much trouble. You go.
Unfortunately, I don't know if that's an option.
Oh.
Oh, not you. You stay. All you go.
You're in uniform. You stay. You're on the clock.
Nope. Unfortunately,
Are you taking off the overalls?
Yep, just
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go too.
unfortunately leaving is, and I said I'm taking off the overalls as I'm talking to them. Unfortunately, we can't leave. We're missing someone, and we have something that's telling us he's. I point towards the bigger door at the end that the goblins did not come out of. He's through there, as far as we can tell.
Oh, you got friend?
Yep.
Oh. Okay. Wait here. And the goblins talk to each other in Goblin. And
Okay.
Devilari, you can there's like, oh, go get their friend. Oh, you sure? Yeah, go get the friend. Oh, okay, we go get friend. Okay. And so they a couple of them go off.
They're
Okay.
going to get, I hope, Ortho. We'll find out.
Huh.
So a little time passes, and the goblins are chattering to each other, and they're looking at you. Like, don't you cross pit. Don't you do that. It's very bad.
Let it play.
So the big door at the end of the corridor behind the goblins opens up, and the Illithid comes out,
Oh.
the Mind Flayer,
Hmm.
and it seems to be floating across the floor rather than
As it
making
does.
walking motions.
Lothar draws his two-handed sword.
And you hear in your mind the Illithid, who has the Tom Waits voice, says, "That isn't necessary." Hey, who has the highest who has the highest intelligence?
Probably
Yeah,
Dana.
you know?
I think-
I got a 19.
Oh.
Jada,
That's
you're like a
Hajal.
22 or something like that,
I
right?
have 22.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Wicked smart.
so Jada and Hajal, both you notice that there's something peculiar about this Mind Flayer. Mind Flayers usually collect skulls. They have skulls on their belts, and they use skulls as ornaments and things. This one doesn't. And it floats out, and it says, and Lothar, the paladin, he draws his sword and he says, "I assure you that is not necessary. Actually, if he's gonna sound like Tom Waits, he's gonna sound like this."
That's all the same. We'd prefer you keep your distance. You can speak to us through our minds just fine.
We agree.
All right. No one else is going to say it. I will. What the hell is going on? You get us in here. Our friend's missing. The rocks. We're not in the inn anymore. Got this bootleg trap that is just a hole in the ground. Got the JV Mind Flayer over here. Hasn't killed anyone or something. Like, no, seriously. What? Where's the little one? What's his name? Oroth?
Ortho.
The little angry one. You got him?
So
What's the compass say?
So we cut to a flashback. Oroth, you were in the clearing with all the standing stones with the thief Shy,
Yeah.
and the Mind Flayer appeared with his little buddy, with the where is he? He's not here. With the little mimic.
Mm.
And he says, the Mind Flayer says, "So it appears that we're not the only ones who have been stolen from our dimension."
Is that what's happened to us? We've been trying to figure it out.
Wow.
My people travel the spheres, and I am aware of dimensional energy. This place is not where I am from.
Is there something in this sphere that I can kill?
I presume so.
Is that what we need to do to get out of here?
That sometimes is an adequate solution.
Where do we have to go to do that? I have this useless thief with me. Can he come too?
Shy is going, what is that? What is that? And then you hear in your head, it says, I am an illithid. And then you have like this understanding of what an illithid is, like telepathically communicated to you the concept of illithid. And Shy goes, oh, and
Yeah.
the illithid, you because he's communicating to you telepathically, he reacts to Shy's reaction with a little bit of sadness. And he says, I know.
So you're a bad thief and you're an even worse friend. I really don't like this thief.
I'm not a bad thief. I'm a very good thief. I'm just
You were going to go stick your hand in the mimic not too long ago.
Well, I've never seen one of those before. And the little mimic goes, ah, wah, 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 wah. No offense, pal. No offense. Hey, wait a minute. How do I understand how a sentient chest talks? How do I understand what is... This place is weird, man. This place is weird.
So this creature, does he have a name? Do you have a name?
The illithid?
Yeah.
He says, my name is unpronounceable by human tongues.
Oh, how would you prefer for me to address you?
And you feel he like does a very brief like surface scan of your brain. Very like immediately he says, the name that best translates to my language would be Bob.
Bob. Nice to meet you, Bob. You said you were going to take us somewhere that we might be able to find a way out of here?
Indeed.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Both of you should come with me.
And I ready my spear.
So as you're walking through cut to Lucas, cut screen wipe to in the jungle, you are walking with Bob, the mind flayer. And Bob says, I am taking you to the dungeon of the Raw.
Ooh, sounds cool. I hope there's a gift shop.
No, there's no gift shop. Shy says, is there a pub? Because a pub would be great. And the mind flayer says, as a matter of fact, there is. Ooh. It's like, whoa, this place is, yes, we're definitely going there.
Huh.
Definitely going there. So you come to the big goblin face, and the illithid turns to you and he says, close your eyes when you walk down the stairs.
Okay.
So you walk down the stairs, and it's a little tricky because you're walking downstairs with your eyes closed. And you slip once, and the illithid, or no, the mimic catches the tail of your shirt, so you don't fall. And then blah, 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 blah.
I like you too much more than I like this other guy.
Oh, nothing but grief. So you go down the corridor, the long corridor. You step on the click plate, the little trap thing comes down, and he says, ignore that.
Okay.
And you get to the door, and when you open the door, there is a cavern. It's huge. It's difficult to see the top of it. And it's the walls of the cavern are all covered in lights and these shifting patterns of lights. It's almost hypnotizing to look at. And you see every monster that you can imagine from the dungeon, from the monster manual. There's kobolds, trolls, hobgoblins, like everything, like just everything. And and they're all walking around like carrying things and talking to each other, and you can see some of them are looks like they're trading. And you walk around the caverns a little bit, and you come to a place which is like a tavern built into the cavern. It's a cavern tavern. And and Shy's like, oh, home. And there are a bunch of monsters running the tavern.
Oh.
And he says, you must be hungry and thirsty.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we are.
Have a seat.
I take a seat and put my weapons away.
He says, I will arrange for a meal fit to your people,
Potatoes?
if you like. We grow them here.
Cool.
Chai says, can I have a pint? He says, yes. So cut to the corridor with the rest of you. And while you're standing there, a couple of the goblins are looking over at Hejal, and they're like, "What are you doing with them?
What? What do you mean?
Why are you with the adventurer?
I don't know. I popped up at the stones. That's what I was asking.
Oh, you should be with us.
What? Why?
Adventurer, they kill you and take your stuff.
Yes, that is generally how it works. Do you have any good stuff on you, unrelated?
Are you a hobgoblin adventurer?
Explorer of sorts.
You are. And Devalari, you hear, well, everybody can understand what they say, but they say the goblin word for traitor.
Oof.
Hijal just kind of like rolls his eyes and just like, this again, just small-mindedness. All right, anyway, and he purposely just kind of like turns around like to not look at them and looks back at the party and goes, all right, so we're killing the goblins, right?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's kill him.
So
It
as
did
soon as,
technically
Devalari is
try
not
to
in on the
toss me into a-
conversation. Yeah.
into
so
a
as
pit.
that conversation is going on, the mind flayer comes in, and you guys have your conversation with the mind flayer.
But Oroth is not with him.
No,
Or is it-
Oroth is not with him. And
Okay.
however,
Pub.
back in the caverns, let's see, the mimic comes up, and goes, ah, bah, 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 bah. He says, come with me.
Fantastic. Let's do it. I'm a little tipsy at this point, so I'm using my spear as a walking stick to stay upright.
Shai says, you mind if I stay here?
I would prefer it, actually.
Awesome. More mead. So a couple of moments later, after you guys are talking to the mind flayer, the door opens again, and a mimic comes out and leading Oroth. And Oroth, across the corridor,
Oh.
you see the party that you arrived with.
Oh,
Ah,
y'all are on the wrong side. It's popping on this side. Y'all should come over here.
I tried. They opened this pit.
Oh,
We have to take precautions.
sounds fair. What y'all gonna do?
And yet you
Well-
took the most violent halfling ever created into your sanctum. Makes sense.
He seems pretty. Devalari just just very gently nudges Ortho's shoulder, Oroth's shoulder. He seems pretty loose right now.
I stumble forward a bit, and out of reaction, I swing my shield behind me to hit whoever was back there. But I miss because I can't coordinate at this time.
Hey, Jeff, you get an inspiration point because you narrated a failure. Why not?
That's right.
All right. So the mind flayer says, please, we do not have that here.
Okay, Lothar addresses the mind flayer and asks him, does he know a way that we can get back to our worlds?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
Ah, okay, did the mind flayer appear on this realm the same way as the rest of us? Did he just appear in a circle of stones like us? Like, I mean, I'm addressing the mind flayer. Like, did you appear in a circle of stones like we did?
No,
How did you come to this world?
this is the dungeon of the Ra. We were brought here.
But
Why
there's a
who-
pub inside.
Yes, thank
That's
you.
all I
Oron.
needed to hear.
You were brought. Who were you brought here by?
I am uncertain.
So
How
do you?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying. So do you think that the way out is somewhere in this dungeon?
No.
Have you searched the dungeon extensively? Like, do you know what's up? What's in this dungeon?
So his shoulders kind of sink for a second, and he bows his head and he says, "Whatever brought you here brought the dungeon here."
Okay, so you didn't really answer my question though. Have you explored the dungeon?
I am the major domo of the dungeon. I know every inch of it.
Oh, oh,
He's
so
the boss of the dungeon.
oh, got it.
I am not the boss of the dungeon. The
Oh.
Ra is the boss of the dungeon. I am the major domo.
I'm sorry. And
What
a
is the
Ra?
Ra?
She is the one who created the dungeon. So he begins telling you a story. And the story, he says, I will tell you the story from my point of view. He was a mind flayer and he had his own kingdom and everything, and he was really evil. And then one day, this mysterious woman came into his kingdom, and he said, "Oh, I will eat your brains." And she said, "Have you had cookies?" And he said, "No." And she said, "You should try the cookies before you eat my brains." Very well. And he ate the cookies and he said, "Oh, cookies are very good." He said, "Have you tried cake?" And eventually the mind flayer, Bob, discovered that brains taste like crap. They're awful. They're just bad. And since then he has become a vegetarian mind flayer.
Awesome.
And she invited him to come and live in the dungeon of the Ra, where there are other monsters who live with each other, and they grow crops, and they have craftsmen and everything. And the dungeon is completely designed to keep adventurers out
Oh,
and protect the ecologies of monsters within. And he says, that is the Ra.
Sounds terrible. We should leave immediately.
If you wish.
I don't know. They have a pub.
And
I'm
cookies.
hungry. I'm thirsty.
don't
They
get
have
distracted.
cookies.
It sounds like a distraction to me.
Look, sometimes I enjoy walking around with golden lotuses. That's all I'm going to say.
We have allies such as you back home who help protect the dungeon and bring it things that we cannot produce.
Like what?
We hold on, he says gardening is very difficult in the dungeon. We can grow some things like, and he looks at Oroth, potatoes. But other things are more difficult, like fruit.
So
Go ahead.
you said that they bring you it from in back home. How does it get to you if the dungeon is here if it's back home?
That's a problem. There is also another problem, but perhaps you should tell me something before I tell you anything more.
What do you want to know?
So he looks back at the orcs and he says,
Oh, yeah,
did
that's
you
right.
also appear in a stone circle? And the orcs go, and Pug, the orc, goes, yes, we did. We appeared in a stone circle with the backpacks at our feet. And the mind flayer says, interesting.
I ask the Bob, Bob, would you like to accompany us to one of these circle of stones to check it out? Or have you researched this before? Or have you been out of the dungeon since you got here?
I
That's where
did
you
not
met me.
have. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's where you met me. We were at the stone circle together.
Oh,
I
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Although I met Oroth at the stone circle, I did not have time to examine it magically. So yes.
We should do that.
I try to whisper to Jada, but my whisper's kind of a shout. Jada, you're the smart one. Can you tell me what's going on right now?
But the pub.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out myself. Okay, so Bob, you said you have two problems, and one is sounds like you're not able to get food into your pub, and then what was the other problem that you wanted to trade information for?
Let us go to your stone circle so that I may be certain of my suspicions.
But the pub.
Would you like to partake of the tavern?
If we're leaving, no, it's fine.
Maybe they can get you a mead to go.
Yeah, can we get visions to go?
Certainly.
Question:
Valari needs a sippy whippy.
How long? How he needs a very stout sippy whippy. How long has it been that we've been going? By the way,
It's late. It's late.
is the day catching up with us at all?
Oh yeah.
How about we do this tomorrow? Hmm?
Do you want
Safe,
to? Do you want to stay here?
safe place, food. Sounds pretty good to me, guys.
I shall have to assign guards to you. I hope you are not offended.
I'm not comfortable sleeping in the dungeon. You guys, that's cool. You want?
Would you prefer
That's
to
on
sleep
you.
in the jungle?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or no? Is that a bad idea?
I don't know.
Hi, Lothar.
Vixus is totally down.
You were saying you were wanting to play an orc, right?
Vixus was totally down. Like he's like, yeah, let's go outside, dude. This is terrible. There's a bunch of monsters back there. They expect us to just sleep here. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Come meet my friend the Mimic. I'm sure he'll change your mind.
You're drunk, Oroth.
Doesn't
Go
change
home,
the
you're
fact of
drunk.
what I said. Both of those can be true.
Fair point.
I assure you, your safety will be secured. No one in the dungeon will harm you.
And Jada is trusting this. So I'm in, but we have to get over this pit and in order to get to the pub, right?
The Valari reaches over and pushes up the lever.
Yep, and the pit covers itself up.
All right. Well, I'm willing to. If the rest of the party is staying, I'm willing to stay. Although
Vixus looks at Lothar with just like such betrayal on his face. You were gonna have a sleep out. We were gonna camp out, bro. And now
well,
you're
okay,
abandoning me.
no. If a Vixos wants to go camp in the jungle with me, cool. But I'm not going to do it alone.
So maybe we split the difference. We hang out near the entrance.
Party.
Yeah.
Split a party.
Yeah, totally. Hey, you're the one that created a menagerie, an MIB menagerie in the back room here,
Right?
with a combat only freaking caster who's like, I just want to kill all these
entire
things.
monster manual.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, maybe we split the difference. Maybe we camp out, out of range of the falling wall, but near the entrance,
Yeah.
and then we'll make ostensibly guarding the entrance.
I
We
like
can even
that
take
idea.
shifts.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Hajal will look at the goblins that he spoke with just a while ago and just kind of like gives them a bit of a look and turns to Lothar and Avixos and goes, yeah, I don't like staying where I'm not wanted. Let's go.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Cool. We got 3.
Yep, that's plenty for an overnight shift.
Yep.
So
A watch.
Lothar, Avixos, and Hejal are staying at the front of the dungeon, right at the end of the stairs, right before the wall drops down.
Yeah. So we don't want to get squished by the wall.
Yeah.
And Oroth, Jada, Brightwood, and Devalari, you Bob, the mind flayer, walks you
Oh.
into the dungeon. You see the same thing, huge cavern, bright walls. If I don't mean to give any spoilers, but if any of you have ever been in one of the Meow Wolf installments, then you know
Yeah.
Daniel knows
Yep.
exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Daniel,
Santa
which one
Fe.
did you go to?
The one in Santa Fe.
Oh yeah, it's
Super cool.
so anyway, you go back and you know exactly what I'm talking about, lights and everything. And you go to the pub, you are served food, and the food is delicious and it is specifically designed for you. And at the end of it is cookies, which are delicious and warm, like they were just baked. Meanwhile, the three outcasts, brothers, at the front of the dungeon, you're sitting there. It's kind of cold because it's a dungeon and it's getting late. And a secret panel opens up, and one of the goblins comes out, and he has a platter of food, and here you go, and he drops it, and he says, bye-bye. And then he leaves, and he turns around and goes, you'll need blankie.
Vixus, summons a flame from his hand, and it's like, nope.
You go sleep with that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Lothar will be fine.
How about you?
Any cookies? I hope they didn't get any cookies.
No cookies for you.
No cookies for you.
Cookies are hugs you can eat. So he walks off, and the night passes uneventfully. Actually, no. At one point, all the way, everybody in the dungeon, you're brought to like a little place to sleep. There's cots and blankets and pillows and things, and there's a couple of very, very big ogres. They're there, and they go, oh, we're sorry, but we have to guard you.
Perfectly fine.
All right, don't make any trouble. It'd be really bad. I told the Raw I wouldn't hurt anybody anymore.
You'll keep that promise.
Okay, good. Don't make me break my promise to the Raw.
I challenge one of them to like a playful arm wrestling match, and I get tossed across the room.
Oroth wins again.
Oh, yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, they said, let's do it again. And they start throwing themselves around the room. But out by the stairs, all of you awake at the same time because you hear this voice saying, Fiant! What sorcery is this?
Fiant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is essentially like a whole bunch of English apostrophes for fi upon it.
Okay.
Fiant!
All right. But we don't see anybody. We hear it first.
Well, you look up and you see in the stairway, there's a bunch of knights.
Oh, yeah, I knew it. Okay.
And they're just walking in place.
Right. The thing on the entrance. Okay.
They don't notice you at all. They don't see you.
They have all their helmets on and everything.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And they're dressed in white, with red holy symbols on their chests.
Mhm.
And they're armed for bear. They have full plate mail. They have big swords. They have shields.
Yeah.
They are ready to go.
Avixos looks at Lothar like, these look like your people.
Yeah, I'll
You wanna
handle this.
this.
I'll handle this. But I also say, if they're just fumbling in the dark, maybe we'll just let them continue to like fumble. Like I'm not gonna like call out or try to figure out how to break the spell, because I'm still not sure that these are the guys that we want to be talking to. But yeah, like I stand up, I get all paladin like. I wait, and just watch and see what happens to them.
So they're walking and they're not getting anywhere. And then they stop, and the leader like raises his hand. The leader also has like a golden eagle on his helmet, and the rest of them don't. And he takes the helmet off, and he's this beautiful man with a long black curly hair and a really rich, thick, gorgeous beard. He looks like he stepped off the cover of medieval GQ, right? Just beautiful beyond. I mean, you would totally like hit for his team. He is just looking upon him.
28 charisma.
Oh yeah. And he turns around and he says, this is the work of the deceiver. And he kneels down and he starts praying.
Okay.
And they all kneel and they bow their heads. And in a moment, there's a flash of white light. And when he looks up, you can see in his eyes that he sees you.
Got it. All right. I say, hail, I am Lothar of Tyr.
And he sees you, and he sees Avixos, and he sees Hejal. And he says, what manner of demons do you keep company with, Lothar?
I say, these are not demons. These are part of a party of adventurers that were transported to this realm against our will. They're not demons.
He points at Hejal and he says, it is clearly not human.
Huh. Thank goodness.
So their brows all furl and they draw weapons. There are six.
Oh.
There are 6 of them.
Okay. I say, stay your weapons, brothers. These that's a hobgoblin. And that is a dragonborn. They are not a threat. I give you my word as a paladin.
Kind of are.
A knight. What's the right word? He says, a knight who shares company with a goblin and a dragon.
I say it is a union of convenience, and it's only temporary. These are not my regular people.
These are my real friends.
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
First, I look at Hejal. I was like, did you just hear
Hejal
this?
fully frowning at him right now.
First, we're not a threat. Now we're not even friends. What's happening here?
Hold
Maybe you
on,
should
let me
stand
handle
over
this.
there,
Let
and
me
I can
handle
make
this.
You all very warm.
Brother, clearly sin has claimed your heart. You are not able to judge what is righteous and what is wrong.
Are you okay? I ask him, are you of this world?
He turns to the other knights and he says, kill them all.
Vix's
So-
eyes getting nice and big. He's like, finally,
He's been ready.
Okay, so this is how we're going to handle a fight. Unless you
Okay.
guys want to run away or
No way.
no. Okay, there's no
No.
running away. All right.
Not me.
So what I want you guys to do, instead of rolling for initiative, is I want you to roll a d20, just a d20. Don't add anything to it. By the way, when I touch my mic, do you guys hear that? Is like a, yeah? No? Okay.
Not really.
Nope.
Just go ahead and roll a d20.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
make sure so you know what it is. So here's what's going to happen. That number that you rolled on your d20 is going to be your roll for your next action. So you can decide what your next action is going to be. So if you rolled really low, you can, you know what? I'm going to drink a potion of healing. Or I'm going to move in a position that's going to give the paladin flanking. Or, you can do something that you're like, oh, I rolled a 3. Okay, that's my action. I'm done with the 3. Now I can roll again for my next action. But if you roll something like a 19 or a 20, you can go, clearly, I'm going to do something that a 19 or 20 is going to affect.
Right.
Okay.
So are these 6 knights all lined up, or are they like spread out wide, like 3 by 3 or 4 by 2, or how are they grouped?
Well, the stair is 10 by 10, so like in
Okay.
full plate armor, they're kind of staggered.
Okay.
So there's like one, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here. So they are in a line of a sort, but they could go shoulder to shoulder, but it'd be really tight. And the same thing is true for you guys.
Okay.
Except for the hobgoblin, who's really honking big.
Well, I mean, say I'm in front. I assume, right? A Vixos, I'm in front.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you were handling the conversation. So.
Okay. Yeah, I figured. Okay. And then the leader is the guy, and he's up front too.
Yes.
And so we're within striking distance of each other, I take it. Okay.
So the way this is going to work is that you guys are going to decide who's going to go first.
Okay.
Actually, no, you guys can decide who goes first. The person whose turn it is, once you're done with your turn, you decide who goes next. Okay. So for example, Daniel, if you go first, once you've done your turn, you can say either John or Jason goes next, or you can say the paladins go next. If the paladins go last, none of you will have any actions to counter anything they do.
Got it.
Mm.
Okay.
Even if we don't use them?
That's interesting.
Well, so for example, let's say all 3 of you take your actions.
Mhm.
And the paladins go, and the paladin goes, I attack you, I attack you, I attack you. And if you have an action, you can do something like I dodge out of the way, or, I want to do something, type thing. So you can use your action to react to things.
Let's
But if
make
you
them go
spend
first,
all of
then.
your actions, you can't react to anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we always want them to go first.
Or, at least sometimes not first. It's really up to you guys.
Maybe not last.
Maybe not last.
I feel like
but-
a Vixos simply just has to go first because he has been dying
Dying to
Right.
run things
this
down, yeah.
entire time. I mean,
How
even if
far-
they hadn't been
No, I
charging, think-
totally agree, because like as a paladin, these guys are my homies, and I feel like it's a big misunderstanding.
No,
So
they
I'm probably gonna hesitate anyway.
You may be their homies, they are not your homies.
Right.
Let's see. But so how far away are they?
I don't know how far away are they?
I mean, if we're talking 3,
we did
4
say that
feet,
we did say that Lothar could hit them.
yeah. So
Oh,
maybe
okay. So
three,
they are pretty
3
close.
feet.
Okay. All right, so we're good. I'm gonna cast Rhymes Binding Ice. Keep them on the stairway.
So what does that do?
So that basically it's just a cone of cold
Mhm.
that will kind of coat the area in ice. And if they can't make a Constitution save, they get stuck for up to a minute unless they're freed by somebody. So their speed gets reduced to 0. They're still able to act, but their speed gets reduced to 0.
Let's see what they get. They did not make their Constitution save, so
All right.
they are
Excellent.
they're penalized by the cold.
And there is damage associated.
Okay, so when you do damage to people, right now they are all considered bloodied. There's
okay.
bloodied, wounded, and helpless.
Okay.
Okay. If you are bloodied, you are at disadvantage. So you're rolling 2d20 and you're taking the lower one.
Mhm.
If you are wounded, you're double disadvantage. So you roll 3d20 and take the lower one. And if you're helpless, you can't do anything. You're out of the fight. Okay. So every time you take damage, that's what's going to happen.
Okay. So with this, the damage associated with this spell would still be just what takes them to bloodied?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So cool.
all of them are bloodied. So they're all at disadvantage now.
There it is.
All right. So that cone of cold goes out and suddenly it feels like, Minnesota in January.
Totally. So I forget.
Well, hold on. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, it's nothing to do with the combat. Did the orcs go off to the tavern with everybody?
That's a good question.
I totally.
Does somebody want to spend an inspiration point to say what the orcs did?
They're Devilari's buddies with Dev. decide what they do.
Devilari, you want to spend an inspiration point to say what the orcs did, or should I tell you what the orcs did?
Go ahead and just tell us.
Okay, so the orcs were kind of mixed. They're like, this is weird and things. So the big orc, Bashtaka, he's staying with you guys. It's like,
Nice.
guard the door, sounds like fun.
Okay, cool. All right. Good. So we got 4.
Yeah, there's 4 of you.
4 against 6.
So you guys also have to tell me when Bashtaka goes.
Okay.
Okay, so John, you just took your action. Who goes next?
Paladins.
The paladins. Okay,
Mhm.
so the paladins are they're and especially frozen because they're in that big heavy armor with chain underneath it and everything. It's frozen to their skin, like putting your tongue on the on the metal thing in the winter.
Pole,
Okay, good.
flagpole.
And so they come charging down. And they're going to take swings. At
Wait,
you.
how can they charge down if they're stuck in place for a minute?
Oh, are they? That's right. I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
they're all.
That's why I want them to go now. Waste
So-
their actions on that.
So they missed their con saves. However, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give the lead paladin. I'm going to let him roll a d20, and if he rolls 15 or higher, just flat 15 or higher,
Mhm.
he's going to break free of the ice.
Sweet.
All right, so let's see what happens. Well, look at that. He rolled an exact 15. So he does break free from the ice, and he rushes up to Lothar, because Lothar's in front, and he raises his big sword. And you see, Lothar, you see his sword is glimmering this white light. And so he raises the sword and he comes down. You're going to use your shield, right? You're going to do the shield thing. It cuts.
Actually, I don't have a shield. I'm two-handed sword.
Okay. So he comes down, his two-handed
Probably
sword,
more
and you go to
block.
parry, and it
Yeah.
cuts the two-handed sword in half.
Oh, damn it.
So the paladin went. So now the paladin is going to pick somebody to go. Hey, Hajal, why don't you go?
Okay. So, he would have done something to help out Lothar, but he was not happy with the way that conversation was going. So instead, given that I rolled a nat 20 just now, which is always exciting,
Sweet.
he will just kind of like just smile at all of the nice little metallic knights that have been frozen in place. And he will take out his crossbow and he will reach in and gonna take out my third thing from my backpack.
Backpack. Okay.
Yep. And it's basically, it looks almost like a little egg timer almost. And he takes it and you see he kind of slams it into a little slot on the side of the crossbow.
Oh,
And he just kind of like turns it around, just tick, 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 tick. And as it starts kind of like unwinding, little bits of like electricity kind of start arcing from it. Like smell of ozone fills the air as Hijal's hair kind of starts like lifting up from static electricity sort of surrounding him. And he just smiles at the knights and he just kind of like goes, "Oh, this is going to be fun." But underneath his breath, anyone who's nearby, he's just like, "Please work this time, please work this time, please work this time." And he pulls the trigger and he shoots out a bolt just like completely covered in little electrical bolts flying off of it that it sort of like pulled off from this little device that he slammed into his crossbow. And it just goes and it hits into the middle of this little ice cube or whatever it was that Avixos made. And it just like shocks right through all of them, running up and down through all of their metallic armor.
And they're all
That's unfortunate.
Totally, that's awesome.
Yes. So when you roll a 20 and you get a crit, it doubles the effect of whatever you're doing. So if you take a magic potion, for example, it doubles the effect of the magic potion. If you cast a spell, it doubles the effect of the spell. Like you can double the range, or you can double the damage, or you can double the area effect, or whatever it is, right? So yeah, I'm perfectly okay with their little electrical thing going out and zapping all of the knights. Because it's going to do essentially double damage, they're all going to go from bloodied to wounded. and so that's
Wait,
cool.
would that be double damage? Would it take him from? Because I thought it was bloodied, wounded, helpless.
So they're okay. They're like not wounded. They're fine, right? So it does 2, so they go from bloodied to wounded.
But weren't they
Oh,
bloody?
that's right. They were already.
They're
You're
already
right. I'm
bloodied,
sorry.
Yeah, they're
You're
already
right.
bloodied.
They're already
So yeah,
bloodied.
they're banged. They're down to helpless.
So it's
all-
just the leader.
Yeah,
Except the
just the
leader.
leader. Just the leader left. Okay.
Now, I am going.
Avixis hits his jaw. Good work. That was nice.
Well done.
Didn't doubt it for a second.
All right. So Jason, you went last. So who goes next?
Lothar's gonna go next. I want to see how this duel works out.
With half a sword.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I guess technically I have half a sword. Okay, so I rolled a 19.
Mhm.
I'm gonna throw down my sword and grab the leader's hand and basically try to and this is something I know from jujitsu in real life, but I
That's
basically
fine.
okay, I basically I grab his wrist and then I pull the wrist around and sort of try to force him and his sword kind of like to get him off balance.
So you totally pull him off balance, and you actually get to narrate the outcome of this. But I'd like to add something. So
Okay.
because I'm adding something to your narration, I'm going to give you an inspiration point.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So you twist his wrists and everything, and in all the confusion and everything, you come up with the sword.
Oh,
And the sword glows blue.
Oh, this
So-
sounds familiar.
Cut to the tavern. And so Dana, Jada, Brightwood, Oroth, and Devalari are in the tavern. And you're having a wonderful time having conversation with a mimic. And because the way the place is, you blah, 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 and he's telling you all about his life. Like,
Fascinating.
it's lonely in a dungeon, just waiting for people to come and try to rob you.
Feels so much better than talking to that thief.
Hey, I heard that, he says on the other side.
You were supposed to.
He's currently flirting with what appears to be a dragon kind person. An alarm goes off, and all the monsters sit up,
That can't be good.
and all the big monsters immediately start rushing towards that door. And the mimic says, "Uh-oh."
I'm assuming that means that something's going on out front.
Oh, yeah, the alarm. Yeah, alarm means something bad.
Hey
Hey,
guys.
Aura.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Aura, are you good enough to walk, or do we need to carry you?
I think Jada was gonna go. Go ahead, Jada.
Say our friends are there at the
That's what.
end.
Yep.
Oh. My person gets very, very excited. I love it when alarms go off. I grab my weapons and I stumble towards the door with all the other monsters.
But before you do that, I say as I reach down, one of the good things about doing poisons is you also know how to use them for medicine. Also, I say that I stick a syringe into your neck and pump some adrenaline into you.
Nice.
That's what I needed. Some more adrenaline.
That'll go all out of your system.
My character's just like vibrating now.
So as you go running for the door, there are ogres and trolls and hobgoblins and other things like at the door. And they open the door and you all see like down the corridor. It's kind of hard to see above everybody's head, especially for those of you who are very small. But actually you can like look between people's legs. And you see the sight going on. The stairway looks like it's frozen. There's a bunch of knights that are sparking, arcing
fine.
electricity to each other, and these guys are taking out care of business. And Lothar the Paladin is holding a sword that's glowing blue.
That looks
And,
shiny.
Okay, so I have my orc buddy. And I'm like, hey, give me a lift. Let me get on your shoulders. I want to see what's happening. So
Yes,
yeah,
your shield.
my shield. Yeah.
He lifts you up and puts you on his shoulders.
Yeah. So Can they hear us down there? Hey guys, how's it going? You got this? You need some help?
So you all hear Jada Brightwood in her bright elven voice. That sounds like Anya sing song, right? When she speaks, it's like an Anya song, you know. So,
But in response, we just hear Vixus cackling like,
They're
just
fun.
like super excited.
And
Go on,
Hijal
Arthur.
Hijal's also doing like his best, like the mad scientist laugh too. He is ecstatic that it worked this time.
Like, what I'm talking about.
I think you're missing out, buddy.
I've already taken off. I'm trying to run through people's legs. I'm just not having much luck.
so the knights look essentially defeated. The leader knight looks up at you, Lothar, and he says, I have been defeated. I am subject to your mercy. And he bows his head.
And I say, I accept your apology. I know you meant well. I know you don't really probably know what's going on, but we're not here to kill you. We all want the same thing. We all want to get away from this realm.
So he shakes his head and he says, there is no escape from this place. He says, do you not know where we are?
Where are we?
We're in hell.
Which hell? There's more than one.
Clearly you have listened too much to the deceiver. So we'll cut there really quick. It is 8 o'clock. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. So everybody needs to run to the restroom or get a drink or anything. Actually, not even 5 minutes, like 1 minute. Don't turn off your cameras or anything.
Yep.
We're just gonna run off and get my bottle opener. So I'll be right back in like 30 seconds. Okay. Cool. All right. So we're going to cut to the knights have all been bound up. They're all bound in chains and everything. And they're brought outside the dungeon. And the Illithid is there, Bob. And do you all want to go up there? Are you going to stay in the pub? What do you want to do?
I go
Oh,
up there.
Yeah, going up there for this.
Yeah, for sure.
So the Illithid thinks at them and says, you are not welcome in this place. Do not return, or next time we will not be merciful. And you know, and the knights are all bound up and there's nothing they can do. The Mind Flayer turns to Lothar and says, are these your people?
Ooh.
Not exactly. There are men like this where I come from, so I feel that I understand why they act the way they do, but no, these are not my men.
I am very confused by their minds. They are hateful, yet they think they are loving.
They were taught from birth that there's only good and evil in the world, and no in between, and so they assume, they make assumptions based off of appearances and assumptions that things are evil or are good, and so they, that is the reason why they are acting the way they are acting. It's because they don't know that monsters, or what they think are monsters, are actually just other beings that can be good or evil.
They were never given cookies.
Or cakes.
So he does the closest thing a mind flayer can do to chuckle.
Creepy
And,
sound.
Yeah, it's a very creepy sound. And he
Psychic
says,
damage.
and so he goes back to them and he says, do not come back here. You are not welcome here. Go back to where you came. And then the monsters all take their chains off and everything. And he says, but I am keeping your weapons. They will be, and he points like in the jungle. He says, they will be there tomorrow. I do not wish to leave you defenseless.
Except I'm keeping your sword, leader. just so you know.
I mean,
You do need a replacement after
you
all.
did break yours. so,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
broke
it's
my
just fair.
sword, so I have to take it.
Or asked Bob, why are you keeping them alive?
Who are you addressing?
Bob.
He's asking Bob.
Oh, Bob.
And the mind flayer says, that is the way of the raw. We do not kill. Here, let me show you. And he gestures for you to go back into the dungeon.
This is like, see, this keeps getting worse.
So who follows him into the dungeon?
Evalari will.
I will.
Okay. So everybody follows him in the dungeon, and he turns to one of the goblins and says, activate the trap. And so they go, all right. And they pull a lever and the pit opens up.
Oh, right, the portal.
And he says, watch. And he walks, or he floats forward, and he leaps into the pit, and he goes into the portal, and he vanishes.
Yep.
And a few moments later, he comes down the stairs. The portal teleports you outside the dungeon.
Oh.
Hmm.
The Ra does not kill.
Okay.
I go and I jump in the portal just to see what it's like.
You teleport outside the
And you see
dungeon.
me come
like,
skipping back down the stairs.
right down, yeah.
I recommend
goblins-
this. It's fun.
And the goblins go, do it again. Does anybody else want to jump in the pit?
No.
Yeah.
Blip, you appear outside the dungeon.
It's convenient.
It was originally designed to teleport you outside the dungeon naked.
Why would you change that? That's not fixing.
The original,
design.
the original owner of the dungeon was a lich,
Oh,
a very evil lich, cruel.
brutal.
When the Ra when the Ra took over the dungeon, she changed all that.
How do you take over for a lich without killing it?
It's already dead.
So you can kill undead. All right, fair enough.
Are they alive?
It sounds like
Or are they
semantics to me.
only animated by evil magic?
I'm not sure. I didn't realize your theology was so semantically conditional.
We have skeletons.
Well, and I'm addressing specifically Oroth and Devilari. Guys, it's time to stop fooling around. We still need to get out of here.
Yes. Let us go and look at your circle of stones.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So cut to your stone circle. It's still there. The well is still there, and the mind flayer is like looking at one of the stones, putting his hand, ominous dominus e pluribus unum, and he says, "It is as I thought. These stones are dimensional portals of a kind."
One way.
Yes.
Ah,
However,
Ooh.
they are not here by accident, nor are you or us. Something clearly brought us here for a reason.
well, I mean, I think then we need to explore this entire planet, realm, whatever we're on.
Oh, there is the second thing that I intended to tell you. because you helped us defend the dungeon of the Ra. You have proven yourselves to be allies of the dungeon. Do not betray our trust.
I give you my word.
So he says, essentially, he lays out this thing. He says, this part of where we are, of this plane of existence, comes from somewhere else. When you go to the dungeon of the Ra, I'm going to break character, explain this a little bit, little exposition. And he explains how when you go to the dungeon of the Ra is from another place.
Right.
And he's like, and the knights clearly come from someplace. The orcs come from someplace. And he says the plane that you are on is like a demi-plane. It's a small plane of existence. And it's a patchwork of different planes that have been snatched up and shoved together.
Okay.
And then he says, and now the dangerous part. I do not believe that this plane is stable.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Okay. Oh, Bob, any chance you know of or could build us an airship?
An airship? With what materials?
I don't know,
That
the
could
jungle, the jungle?
That could take months.
Okay. All right, guess not.
How unstable are we talking?
It's difficult to tell without the right instruments.
How can you tell that it's unstable? What are your signs?
My people travel between the planes. We have an innate sense of such things. This plane is not stable.
Do you think we have an artificer in our party? Do you think he might be able to make you one of these instruments that you need?
What do you
I
say,
know what the
Najal?
instrument is. Maybe you want me to make a thing that I don't know exists? I can try.
I want you to make a dimensional catalyzer.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure.
Hey,
Right away.
Hajal, can you make a dimensional catalyzer?
Maybe.
Nope.
It's your. So this is
Give it a try.
So one of our rules is that, like, when you say things that are true about your character, you don't roll. You're the author of your character. So Jason, Hajal can't make a dimensional catalyzer.
Oh, he doesn't even know what that is.
Okay. So you get an inspiration point because you said no. No, I have no idea what that is. And he says, if I drew you a plan, could you make it?
Obviously.
Good. Let us work together then and make a tool. Says the mind flayer with his let us
You
work
know-
together.
There's something could be said about Hajals and tools, but it's too easy to say it.
Oh.
Devalari says as he's peeling an apple.
So the orcs, the shield, your shield, I think his name is Tamal. Isn't his name Tamal?
It's
It's something like that.
Yeah.
no,
I'm
it's
glad
it's
that-
Bala.
Oh, that's right.
Bala.
Bala.
Your
Bala.
shield, Jada says, I do not understand anything that's being said.
Well, turns out that we're in danger because this land is not solid. And so we're going to create a device to help make this land solid. If I got that right. Did I get that right, guys? Yeah.
Think so?
We're gonna try to figure out just how not solid it is.
Hmm. So the knights were right. We are in hell. And all the orcs go, "Oh."
Mumble, 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 mumble.
And Pug.
Really convinced because there's cookies here. I don't think
There's no
Now the
cookies in
hell
hell.
And Pug says, this isn't hell because Gorlam isn't here. And all the orcs go, oh.
Jada, the cookies were low fat.
With raisins.
It still counts, no?
They're made with stevia.
but yeah,
No, no
that's
sugar,
the
fat-free.
I assure you they were not made from a stevia. So, Hajal, you want to make that item with the mind flayer?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and as he's doing it, he's taking a little bit longer because he's copying like everything that he's telling him like into his own journal, like for his own purposes later.
Okay, so you're gonna do the thing. Go ahead and make a roll, and you get to add the mind flayer's. Let's call it half because he's helping you. Half of his intelligence bonus, which is 3.
Good Lord.
I am a
He's
monk.
Okay, that is
he's that Jada smart.
that is a 7. So
Okay.
+3 would be
10.
a 10.
Use an inspiration
Uh,
point.
Artificer, so that's another 4.
He's so good.
4.
Yeah.
And what stat are we using here?
Intelligence.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
over
he's
15
fine.
then.
He's fine.
So, do you make the dimensional, whatever I called it,
Catalyzer.
catalyzer?
Yeah, so working with Bob, and just kind of like picking stuff out of his bag, they are able to make a dimensional catalyzer. There's even a couple of shortcuts they're able to take because there's a couple of the runes that he had found that did kind of like help out a little bit in terms of like a little power source or like magic detection or whatever. Yeah, it certainly catalyzes dimensions. Does it real good.
So, because you rolled high, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to lead your question a little bit.
Sure.
How many days until the plane falls apart?
Oh.
Yes.
10?
4.
4 days.
Well done.
Ooh.
We have a timer.
Oh wow.
Let's hit it.
The ticking clock.
Well, you knew how to make a dimensional catalyzer. So do you have the plans for the dimensional gate, dimensional carriage, dimensional get out machine?
I
Extra
could leave.
stabilizer.
Get
And
her at her.
he says, I could leave at any time.
What?
I could leave this plane at any
He
time.
could leave. Doesn't mean we could leave.
Why haven't you left?
I am the major domo of the
The
domo.
Oh.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
I cannot leave them behind.
Do you know how to build a device to take the entire dungeon? And everything inside?
No.
No. Okay.
I think the clue here is the runes and all the stones here, and we haven't examined any of the other spots. And clearly there's power here, and they were placed here by something. So there's still clues that we have yet to uncover. So I say we need to go investigate more.
Go investigate the orc circle where they came out.
I mean, the one taken by your friends in giant shiny armor?
Yes.
The ones with
Acquaintances.
They're more like distant cousins.
They're adopted.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those who don't know, when they met the orcs said that the metal men had taken their circle away from them. And that was clearly the knights. By the way, Lothar, your sword is glowing blue. And and you're like holding it and stuff. And do any of the wizards want to magic something at the sword to see what it might be or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
She
I
wants the sword killed.
suspect it
Jade
has
is the
something.
one.
Yeah, I suspect it has something to do with the proximity to the goblins and orcs, and but we'll see.
You have a racist sword. Good for
Yep.
you.
Everywhere we go, Hajal. Everywhere we go. This goes everywhere we go.
Gotta pull the race card, don't you?
+1 sword of racism. Wonderful.
Seriously. Seriously. Well, it did
I was actually
come.
going to ask you, Ajal, like you've been catching it from every direction, everywhere we go. How are you feeling about all this?
It did come from the company of the holy racist.
Totally.
So we have a couple of spell casting types. You guys want to try to identify the sword?
Vixus was absent that day.
Jada.
Yeah, I will definitely see if I have anything comes to mind while throwing some magic, some intuitive guess. I don't know. Can I touch your sword? Is that
I think it's okay for you to touch. I don't know about the goblins and the orcs, but I think you're okay.
I'm not touching that thing. Are you kidding?
Look, it's already turning him racist. Having effect. It's already happening.
I'll touch it?
Go ahead and roll, Jada. Add your intelligence and your +4 because you are a spellcaster.
Oh shit! I got 4, so my intelligence was that's my intelligent bonus, so that's
Yep.
4, so that's at 8, and then
+4 because you're a spellcaster.
I got 12.
Get 12. So I get to say whether your spell works or not.
Yeah.
So you touch the sword and it shocks you.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Wow. That's the second time I've gotten shocked this because the first time, remember touching the ruins together, and
Yep.
I've been able to pull up this electrical lightning power here, so very, very similar to the rune magic that I now have. So I don't know.
Lothar, cut the stone with your sword.
Or if they're holy racist men, you're a not racist holy man. Pray about it.
Are we just out of character? Are we playing with alignments?
If you want.
I would just
That's
because I mean it could be that this sword can only be touched by lawful good or a paladin.
I would go with paladin.
paladin. Okay, yeah. So
you're a holy man who's not racist. Pray about it.
okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
Which god does Lothar worship?
a tier.
Oh, that's right, Tyr, the god of justice.
Yeah. I mean, I have my wisdom isn't the greatest. but I feel
You want to
like
roll?
Yeah,
I'm a paladin. My wisdom isn't the greatest.
I mean, it's
Truer words have never been spoken.
Who needs wisdom when you have dogma?
right? I got a great charisma. All right, let's see here.
Go ahead and make a roll. Let's see if you can
Ah.
contact your god.
I got a 1.
Oh,
Oh,
That's right.
reach
That's
somebody.
right.
Oh,
It's not
even
who
with
you
my
thought.
with my +1 wisdom, and even
Spend that,
being,
ins-
there's no way I'm getting to 15.
spend that inspiration.
So
First
what
you
does
Oh,
the
yeah,
deceiver sound
yeah.
like?
Yeah.
You
Thanks
have
for reminding me.
yeah, you
No,
have
I'm gonna
inspiration.
I'm gonna spend my one of my inspiration points.
okay.
Okay. And what does that mean? I get to roll a second D20?
You get to roll
or-
a second D20,
Second
and you
D20.
get to take the higher result, which,
Okay.
unless you roll another one.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. It's 10.
It's better than
But-
one.
Yeah, so that 11 for the wisdom.
15.
You're
Well,
also
you're
a
paladin.
paladin because
And
you're
I'm a
so
paladin.
+4.
Oh, +4 for okay, so I get it. Okay, so
Okay.
15.
So, do you contact your god?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
So, Tyr,
Yeah.
the god of justice, he says, "Where have you been?"
And I say I'm lost on a distant plane, and I'm lost on a distant plane.
I cannot see you.
But you can hear me.
Yes.
I am trying to figure out this sword that I'm handling,
I
And I'm
can
trying-
see the sword.
and I want to know what it does and why it just shocked one of my party members.
So he gods would communicate to you in symbols and signs and things like that, that kind of thing. But essentially he tells you that the sword is a holy sword that comes from a different dimension, a different plane, and a different god.
Oh, okay.
A different god of justice.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So he says he is kin to me. And this is how the sword works. Number 1, it gives you a +2 on all rolls with the sword.
Oh, great. Okay.
But more importantly, when you tell the sword mercy, it will glow blue. And although it will defeat people, it will not injure them.
Oh, okay.
And if you tell the sword justice, it will turn red and it will injure people.
Oh, okay. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Tyr.
And then the signal cuts because
Thanks,
Oh, okay.
God.
cellular is awful out here.
Totally.
Right.
The roaming charges were too much.
Yeah, they really are.
Oh, cool. Okay.
All
You
right.
were able to make contact?
I was, and
Did you ask for a way out of here?
Oh,
Ah.
yeah.
Wait, let me get this straight.
Uh,
You literally
about-
talked to a god
Yes.
and just got him to identify your weapon.
Yes.
We're screwed.
Yes.
I was. It was
I
Then Valari offers
I
of
am
Ixos
sorry.
the horn of meat he took from the.
Yeah, that's like, that's. Where's that pub again?
but I got this cool sword. Yeah.
Yeah, your racist sword is great.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, it's not a racist sword. It's about mercy and justice. I can use it to, quell a crowd without hurting them, or I can use it to kill stuff. So I got that going for me.
All right.
So Bashwaka says, magic sword, still shorter
Yes.
than spear.
Ah!
Cut
You
two.
know,
Fair point.
I had to think about that for like a couple of weeks, but now I understand the joke. It came to me earlier this week. I was like,
It's like a Zen koan.
Right?
It
It
creeps
is.
up on you, and you suddenly go, "Oh, the flower." Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So you
Um,
cut to the orc's circle of stones,
Okay, so we went over to the orc
Yeah.
circle. Okay.
and the mind flayer is examining the stones, and he says, "Yes, these are similar to yours, but they are drawing from a different dimension."
Hijal wants to go to see if these stones also have like a little like nook with runes on them, like the ones that we had.
Yes, it does, and the well has a different rune.
Oh,
Hajal, Jason, why don't you tell me which rune it is? Because you're in charge of the runes.
okay. We'll say that it is. Oh, it is a triangle.
A triangle. Okay.
It's a
What does that
triangle.
mean?
Triangle is the rune for law.
Interesting. Okay.
Lawful water.
Lawful water. Wait, moon water. Oh.
Moon water is just fine.
So Pug, the littlest orc, who's only 6 feet tall, he says, "How many circles are there? How many
Oh.
of us are there?" And he's like,
Oh.
"You, us,
Metalmen.
the metal men."
6.
So Hajal frowns and he goes, "Well, it's the same runes that are in this nook that were in the other one, and there's 12 of them. There are 12 of these things."
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Clever.
Hmm. I don't know. But yes, that would make sense.
If there's 12 of them. Old fashioned. Bob, how long have you been here?
A day or two. A day or two. He says in his Tom Waits mind flayer voice.
Pug.
Oh, a day or two. So we all arrived together.
And we've only got 4 days to figure this out.
I'm
Oh, go ahead.
So my mind's going back that we do have portal technology here.
Mhm.
Okay, is there any way perhaps that we can use that and take the portal somewhere else? If we can figure out how to control that portal and either use that other places on this realm or perhaps tweak it to get back home.
As you ask that question, everyone roll a Constitution roll.
Ooh.
If you think that your heritage or your class will protect you from poison, please add a +2 or a +4
Oh, yeah.
as you see fit.
Yeah, 17.
And roll. Let me know if you roll a 15 or higher.
I did 17.
18.
Natural
Okay.
20.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
At a 21.
Cool. Dana, what'd you roll?
17.
Okay. Oh, Dana and Daniel. So an arrow flies out of the jungle, hits the center of the circle, and Dana, you immediately recognize it as an elven arrow. It explodes, and you can see that like the arrow has on the front of it like a plump fruit or something like a spore, and it explodes and spores spray out. I'm going to roll for the mind flayer.
Yeah, it
Oh.
smells like home.
He did not roll well, and the orcs also didn't roll well. So the mind flayer and the orcs start coughing and collapse. And then out of the trees themselves, slender, slim figures step out of the trees with bows and long hair and paint and tattoos on their skin. They're green skin, and they speak in Elven.
Jada,
And,
you're up.
Yep.
And by the way, although you all made your saving throws, you are
I
all
didn't.
considered at. Oh, you didn't.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm down.
you are considered at for those of you who made your saving throw, you're only bloodied, so you're only at 1 disadvantage. If you missed your saving throw, you're at 2. Okay. And they step out with all their bows drawn, and there's like 8 of them. And
Okay.
they speak in the Enya sing-song language. And they say, "Sister, we have come to rescue you."
Okay, thank you. I see that. I appreciate that. Wonderful. These are my friends, and we need to get the spores to disperse. Let's take care of my friends first.
They fire again. Everybody roll your constitution again.
Oh, joy. Not on that one.
Oof, that is a 2.
That's a 1.
19.
Paladin makes sense. Paladin makes sense for that.
I make it. Well, I get 15 exactly.
Okay, cool. So if you miss it, you go down 1. If you made it, you're still at the same level.
Okay, so I'm still
down we go.
Okay, so I am down to
Lies.
wounded.
I should have rolled 3, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Dana, this is not affecting you at all.
Okay, good.
Good.
Lies. I did not make it because I forgot I was double disadvantaged. So
Oh,
I'm now helpless.
Oh, we were disadvantaged. I got a natural 1 anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So here's a rule for helpless. You can still take actions, but it costs you an inspiration point.
Okay, that's fair. I got those.
So
So
you
I'm
should
wondering,
always be able to act. Right. So actually, go ahead.
Wondering, because we talked about this last time, and I love playing with new mechanics. You talked about cashing in an inspiration point in order to do a flashback.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to cash in an inspiration point and do a quick little flashback to the night before when the 3 of us were camping outside. And Hajal stayed up a little bit later because he's still fiddling with the runes, trying to figure out what they do. And at one point during the night, he actually woke up a Vixos when he sort of like tapped together the spiral rune with a rune that looks like an R, a magic rune. And it produced this big like gust of wind that kind of startled Avixis awake. It was like, sorry. All right. Wrote that down. Bringing it back to now, Hijal would like to sort of like just grab those 2 runes and just slam them together to see if he can clear the air.
Go ahead.
More heroic way of doing that, but of saying.
Go ahead and roll, Jason. Get 15 or higher.
Okay, so
and because you did a really cool flashback, add 2 to your roll. Just add a flat 2.
So I'm wounded. So that means that I'm doing this with disadvantage.
You're doing it with disadvantage unless you spend inspiration points to because right now you're at -1. If you spend an inspiration point, you'll be at just rolling 1 die.
Okay, let me just roll 1 die. So I'll cash in 1 inspiration. I've got 1 left. And whoop, off the table.
That's bad luck.
That's a 5.
See, I told you. Bad luck.
That's a 5.
So, did you roll 15 or higher with all your bonuses and things?
5 plus that's 9. No.
Okay, that means I get to say what happens next. The wind does indeed blow the spores away. It also gently lifts the elves and places them like a Hollywood explosion, gently lifts them off their feet, and they land a few feet back, and they take this as a hostile action.
Oh,
damn it.
And that's where we'll leave off for this week. So what we usually do is we take 15 minutes after the game to discuss like decisions that I made and decisions you made and things like that. So first of all, did everybody have fun?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Does everybody feel like they got like enough spotlight? Did enough spotlight go around?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the Dungeon of the Raw. The Dungeon of the Raw is something that I've been toying around with for a long time. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a dungeon that's run by a good lich. who uses baking powers to make allies with evil monsters and things. She has a whole bunch of monsters down there, including a Tarask, but she has to keep it asleep because it's really big.
It's a Tarask.
It's a Tarask. And I use it in my D&D games when people ask me to run D&D as an ally dungeon so that players can go out and do missions for it. Like
cool.
there's this goblin tribe out there that's getting massacred by the humans or the elves. Can you go and save them and bring them back and bring them to the dungeon? Things like that. And then again, same thing. I threw the dungeon at you guys and I had no idea how you would react or how it would go. And based on your reactions to it, making small changes in the way that characters act, the goblins with Devilari, for example, and things like that. I also used the Raymond Chandler rule. Raymond Chandler is the guy who sort of co-created the American Private Detective with anyway, wrote The Big Sleep, The Long, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he had a rule when he was writing stories, which is whenever the story seems to be slowing down, a guy with a gun walks in the room. And if you read the Raymond Chandler novels, you can like, oh, a guy with a gun walked in a room. Okay.
Right.
So there's that. So for that, I had the knights show up. Right. Had the knights show up, see how you guys react to the knights. And you guys did fantastic with that. And also playing around with all of the things. I wanted to, as soon as the knights showed up, and I was like, okay, we have a paladin who doesn't have a holy avenger. That's just wrong.
Totally.
Just wrong. And that version of the holy avenger is kind of like my version of the holy avenger in my D&D games. It's the you can tell it to
perfect.
be.
It was perfect for my character. Like I immediately, when you did that, I was like, oh, that's a great mechanic. I see what you did there. Like you're like, okay, he needs a magic holy avenger. Yeah, it's good.
And mercy or justice.
Yeah,
right?
it's good. I like that.
So it puts a choice in Daniel, puts a choice in your hand. Is this a mercy fight scene or is it a justice fight scene? Right. So because you tell the Avenger what to do. Also, I'm really glad, John, that Avixos got to do his big attack thing.
He froze a bunch of dudes and just to let them get shocked.
I know, that's awesome.
Perfect.
Yes, Jason, the cranking thing was really great. So the Dungeon of the Raw, now you guys are allies of the Dungeon of the Raw, like the orcs. You guys had befriended the orcs, you made allies with the orcs, which means that now, which meant then for people who are watching who don't know, when you make allies with the different things that are in the plane, you guys can now make orc characters. Right, you can say, instead of playing Lothar the Paladin, you're like, I want to play one of the orcs. So you just make up the orc and you get to play the orc. Same thing for the Dungeon of the Raw. If you guys want to pull a monster out of the monster manual and say, I want to play a gelatinous cube, why not? Right?
Yeah.
So you guys can totally like go through the monster manual, find a monster, except for the Tarask. Nobody gets to play a Tarask. Because that's
fine.
Because that's asleep, and the Raw is keeping it asleep. And then lastly with the elves, because we're setting up Dana's spotlight scene for next week for the elves, and to see where we're going to go with that. But they're not your elves; they're a little different. Just like the paladins, the knights were a little different.
Right.
Right.
I honestly kind of was hoping to like grab them as henchmen, but I don't think the rest of the party would really agree with that. So
that's entirely up to you guys.
Yeah.
Right? So
I don't think they're vibing so great.
I
with,
mean,
the metal
could you turn down the racism a little bit? We'd be fine at this point.
I mean, Lothar straight up threw Avixis and Hajal under the bus during that conversation. Like I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here?
No, I'm just standing. I'm not with them. I'm standing next to them.
Oh,
I
these
mean,
guys.
they're not even dangerous, even though they just two-shot your entire party. Sorry about that.
So the other thing, let's talk really quick about the combat system, right? For my taste, and everybody's taste is different, a lot of combat systems are really, really boring to me. They're boring to me. So I like a fast-paced, immediate, the players are always making choices. That's really important to me. It's like, you don't roll for initiative, you're choosing who goes next, because it's all about engaging the players. So if you have, and you guys can use the system we used, you can use something else. But my advice to you as a GM is to constantly keep the players engaged. And one of the ways you do that is that they're always thinking about, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? Lothar's sword, the who goes next, you thinking about who's going next and things like that. Also, the wounds of bloodied, wounded, and out. Do two things. The first thing is it takes characters out fast. Combat suddenly becomes really, really dangerous, as evidenced by both the cone and the lightning and the elves firing gas into you guys. All right. The second thing that it does is that it speeds it up and makes it more immediate, makes it feel more like an action scene in a movie. And those are my goals for running the game. You and your players, when you run for your players, you may have different goals. You may want to have a more tactical sense of, no, we really like moving miniatures around on a board. And to be honest, I really like moving miniatures around on a board too, because I love miniatures, I can't paint them.
Me too.
And I love like saying, this is me, and customizing it and all that stuff. So if your players are really into miniatures, if they like go full hog into miniatures, figure out a way to include miniatures in your game, which is of course hard here, right? But figure out a way to include miniatures in your game that also accommodates your goals when you are running a fight scene. It's all your level of comfort. Remember, we're talking about consent and comfort, and all that kind of stuff, because it's what your players want out of a game and what you want out of a game. And talk and say, do you guys want to spend, and I'm being dismissive, but do you guys want to spend 4 hours resolving 10 seconds of combat? Or, maybe we can shorten that a little bit, or maybe, the last group I ran, they were very comfortable with one person making a roll to say what happens in the combat. And they're like, we have the fighter do it. And the fighter tells us what to do in the fight. And so he would roll, and then he would say, all right, the elf does this, the thief does this, and everything. And the party was fine with that. They're like, yeah, we prefer this, because we're having much more fun, like bantering with the orcs and dealing with this and and all that kind of stuff. So it's all about what your players are comfortable with. And don't be afraid to like throw the rule book out and start with a blank piece of paper and go, okay, what are we doing? How are we resolving things? Right. So don't be afraid to do that. So so essentially that kind of like sums up the stuff I was doing. Do you guys have any questions or want to talk a little bit about anything else?
I had a kind of a therapy blend question. When you're kind of in the middle of a game, do you ever stop to like have people process what's going on, or do you typically save that for the end as like a reflective thing? Because there was like some interesting moments that came up where I was like, that would actually be interesting to know like what other people were thinking about what was happening.
Yeah, it depends. And like this can be something we can ask now. Do you guys want to play in such a way that we make sure that everybody gets to act in a fight scene? Right. That's a question we can ask. And so we can devise a very quick, easy system where we make sure that we go to everybody and make sure everybody has a moment of spotlight in the fight scene. So that's something we can think about. And then you guys can text me on the Discord thing and go, you know what, fighting is really important. And this is a valid thing. For example, John, clearly your character is designed for combat. Right.
Yeah.
There you go. And if you texted me and said, John, if there's a fight scene, I'm in. I want to be in, like every fight scene. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to write that down, that John wants to be in every fight scene, and make sure that you have a part in that.
Yeah, it's funny. I struggle with this way of doing things for sure, because it's like, if we can do whatever we want, then what's the value of anything we do? And there's a little bit of, for me, there's a little bit of the game is missing. We're just talking, and the game is gone for me. And I, as you can see, I like games.
Yeah.
And so the game feels gone, and I think I don't prefer that as much. I can understand the utility of it, but when, like, I would never in a million years tell you that I have to show up at a thing, because if I'm there as the, you know, in the world, if we treat the world as real, if I'm there, then I'm there. If I'm not, then I'm not. To break that feels sacrosanct to me, and reduces the feeling of like I'm doing something, as opposed to like we're just here talking, having a fun story. Not to dismiss that as bad, but that's like, for me, it's like I am missing a huge piece in this D&D adjacent thing, that is, there's no game for me. It doesn't feel like the game exists, which is fine. And for some groups that may be perfect, but for me, it is not my favorite.
And absolutely, if there's an element of the game that you want to bring, that we can bring in, that makes you more engaged,
it's the nature of the narrative, right? Like the narrative, the fact that anyone can say what happens and things can go. There's not that like a game is about choices and making mistakes and things going wrong. There's always a chance things go wrong. This is not that. This is a way to keep people engaged by sharing the experience and making sure people get time to kind of role play and be their characters and present them with stuff. It just feels like nothing matters.
Well, and part of that is, and we haven't really gotten, I mean, we've done it a couple times, is when like stakes, right? Stakes are an element of gaming. Like if I do this, then, you know, we lose. Or if I do this, like, so the element of stakes are missing. So one of the things that we can do, like for players who are like, I want to have more elements of things are at stake, right?
Sure,
we can totally add that into the game, because right now we just have like a page of rules, and we can add things into it. So yeah, totally. We can, you and I can talk about how to add that into the game.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to try for sure.
Yeah, cool. Anybody else before we call it a night?
I think that's it.
Okay, cool. Well, again, thank you guys for making the game really fun to run.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
A lot of
Thanks,
laughter
John.
and things.
Cool.
Thank you, John.
Moments for sure.
And we'll see you next week for what happens with the elves.
Yep.
Okay.